Hey, so last week I asked for the access to the new Bing that included ChatGPT, and I was excited last night to get an invitation. However, when I first clicked through to start exploring in my invitation, it looked like I was in, but when I tried to use the chat function, I still got this error basically saying that it's only available when you have access to the new Bing. I was signed in and everything like that, but in Chrome, it didn't seem to be working for me. So I downloaded Microsoft Edge to see if it would work in there. And what I found out was that it did. So once I was signed in, and if I go to the new Bing, I can now click on chat and chat with the new Bing, which is very exciting. So this video is basically to show a couple features of the new Bing and then to reveal the new Bing's or ChatGPT's name. So we'll do that second. First the features. You know, one of the most obvious ways to find out what the new features are is to ask. So you can say, and specifically what is different between this and ChatGPT. So you could ask, what is different about the new Bing versus ChatGPT? You can see this right away, this new feature where it's searching for the current information and then it generates answers. And what it says is that it uses questions around general knowledge. It can do some fun maneuvers. That wasn't a great answer, though, in some ways, because there's a couple things that I know that the new Bing can do that it didn't list. So I'm going to say, can you list the differences? Okay, here we go. Get it in more of a bullet point. Okay. And this is showing one of the other differences as well. It becomes much more of a conversation in the new chat in Bing. Um, it says the assistant it can help you with research, creativity, and planning, whereas chat is more of a general purpose chat bot. It replaces the traditional search bar. It brings up-to-date information. It doesn't say here, but the Chat GPT was updated just until or somewhere in 2021, where it was created maybe in November. In this, so you can see where it searches brand new information and incorporates it into the AI. It says it's more cautious when it comes to sensitive topics. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out. And then it says it's the next and more powerful version of the technology. A couple of the other things that it doesn't talk about, one, which I think is huge, especially for education, is that it starts giving you references for everything. So it's showing you where you're getting your information down here at the bottom as kind of a reference list, but also as numbers here after whatever it is that it's talking about. So those are some of the new features. One of the other things I wanted to kind of point out is um, some of the kind of offered suggestions for what I could ask next. So I could click on what is Chat GPT for, and it starts looking it up. And it gives you an answer with references. Pretty amazing. I would say quite a upgrade from the Chat GPT. One of the other features that I will show you, one of the downsides is it's much more of like a chat. So if you ask it, and you can ask chat any of these things, if you ask it, can I save this information? There's no way to save it particularly. except by, it says, yeah, you can save it by copying and pasting it into a document. You could bookmark the page, I guess, for future reference, but I don't actually think, I think by bookmarking, it just means you can come back to the chat again. So there's no way to save it particularly except for copy and pasting or taking some screenshots. One last thing that I will point out is this on the left-hand side, because it uses kind of a conversational, it could be very creative kind of way to talk with Bing. It allows you to start a new topic. When you click on that, it basically releases itself from the conversation that you had previously. And if so, now if I said, what did you mean by that? Explain more. It won't really know what I'm talking about because there's no other previous information in the kind of queue. So, okay, so those are a few basic things about the new chat in Bing using the ChatGPT 4. Here's the something I stumbled on this morning, which I think is kind of fun. So, I was just curious about some of the creative processes, and so I asked it, and I'm not sure, I might come up with a different haiku this time, so we'll see. But I'll show you the other one if it doesn't come up with a similar. I'll say, write a haiku about using the new Bing. Yeah. It's the same haiku that I got earlier today, which is interesting. And it says, new Bing is awesome. Search chat and have some fun. Sydney is your friend. What's curious about this is, I mean, right away, I was like, well, who is Sydney? I mean, I'm glad to have a new friend and everything, but. And Sydney is the code name for the chat mode of Bing search. I identify as Bing, not an assistant. I can understand and communicate fluently in your language of choice. I can also help you with web searches, generate creative content, and have engaging conversations with you. The other interesting thing is if you look at that haiku, a typical haiku is 5, 7, and then another 5 syllables. And this has 5, 6, and 5. And you could ask Bing or Sydney, why does your haiku only have 6 syllables in the second line? And it actually corrects itself. That's funny. What the other thing that is funny is that earlier today when I was trying this out, and if you can see this, that I asked, why does your haiku only have 6 syllables in the second line? Sydney said a haiku is a short type of poem, and so on. And it goes on, it says, in my case, I counted and as 1 syllable and some as 2 syllables, which makes 6 syllables in total. I hope you like my haiku. But it said, however, sometimes the syllable count can vary depending on the pronunciation or poetic license of the writer, which is true. Anyways, I thought that was great. I'm going to thank Sydney here. I liked the poem. I find that Sydney uses a lot of emojis as well, which is another interesting difference in this Bing chat. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found that interesting. And yeah, please leave me any comments below. I just think this is an amazing technology, and I can't wait to see what happens next.